guys here, so the parents really. And I was born and raised in Ethiopia, and I grew up here. And one thing that I don't understand is why is there a negative connotation towards African Americans. African Americans have done so much for us to get here. People like Martin Luther King has done so much for us to be here. And we are sitting in universities, going to college, society paying for us because people fought for us. Like Gilman said, there is a negative connotation attached to Black people in general, and that shouldn't identify us, or we shouldn't see, in general, Black people that way. Black people have done great work. They have built this country. And don't see it, I don't know why there is a negative understanding when we say, I'm Black. We should be proud of it. We all are Black, our color is Black. Yes, our identity is Ethiopian. And we, as Ethiopians, we can support our country, we can support our society, that's our culture, we can respect it. But please, don't create in your mind, oh, you're not Black, you're Ethiopian. That shouldn't be because African Americans are bad. Yes, in some neighborhoods, because of what they faced, people are in jail and all those things. But it's not because they chose. It's not who they are. It's what society has put on them. So let's not downgrade and say, oh, you're not Black, you're this, right? So we should embrace it and, respect it. So thank you. And I am Black, I am Ethiopian, I am Black. I was raised in Ethiopia, so I was Ethiopian. So we have to respect it.
Thank you. I have to say, I really agree with that point, and that's why my interests are the way that they are. I mean, I'm Ethiopian, but my whole life I was always the only Ethiopian in the room. And for me, there were assumptions. When I was at home, I had to be palatable to my Ethiopian parents. I had to be palatable to the Ethiopian community at church. And then when I'm at school, I had to face the expectations of being Black. I always felt like I was behind on cultural references, all of those things that, don't really matter. But I was challenged on the color of my skin. People would, like Germa said, say, oh, you're white, or you're a different breed of Black. Things like that are just really not okay. And for those reasons, the respect that I had for the African American community is why I became so involved with the NAACP, which is the biggest civil rights organization in this country. They do so many things for us. I mean, even when we apply to college, we get to reap the benefits of those that came before us with these African American programs, scholarships, and things like that. So thank you for bringing that note up. I think there was somebody else who raised their hand too. Is that it? Who has the mic?
Hi, I just want to say, first of all, us having this discussion in general is very important, and I agree with a lot of things everyone has said so far. I do want to emphasize the fact that the role that parents have on the perception of us in Blackness. Growing up, I was always taught that we were superior to other African Americans or other Black people in general, and implicitly that kind of sticks with you as you grow up. But in reality, you find out that you're not so much different. And in fact, these African Americans, like she said in front of me, have done so much for us to get to the places we are. And I just really want to emphasize to the parents, even you saying simple things like there's a name that people, specifically parents, this word barda, which means slave essentially, saying these things to your kids, it sticks with them implicitly. And just watch your tone when you speak about other African Americans. And at the end of the day, whether you believe it or not, the further our generation goes, like imagine our kids and our grandkids, the more we are going to be integrated into this idea of Blackness in America.
And it affects our self-image because I've been big to see ourselves as Black.
African American and being, I guess, Ethiopia. But if we really think about it, the only difference between us is African Americans, their ancestors came on boats.
They were taken
They were
and
taken
put on boats.
and they were put on boats forcefully. They didn't want to come here. And for us, we had the choice to come here because we wanted a better life and there was more opportunity here. And I feel like that divide shouldn't be there to begin with because at the end of the day, we are seen as African Americans in society.
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing, and I think Gurma hit it on the nose, thank you Gurma, is that it's a separation between how we internalize being Black versus acknowledging that we are Black and operating to benefit us, right? So what the parents are trying to do, from what it sounds like they were saying, is teach us, if they're telling you you're Black, you're not smart, or you're Black, you can't be anything. No, we're Ethiopian, our history is this, we were maname, we're not slaves, we're not whatever, so then we don't internalize it and then think we're nothing, And in counter of that, by not acknowledging the fact that we are Black, we're not learning how to operate in society, we're separating ourselves, and we're hurting ourselves at the end of the day in terms of opportunity. Is that right, parents? Yeah? Okay. So, the next thing I kind of just want to talk about is from the older Abasha kids who have been through college or in high school, for the younger ones, what advice do you have that you wish you knew in terms of, navigating that process? I have a video, I'm going to talk about it, but I really want to give everybody an opportunity to share their insights, because we all had different experiences. In the back. Get the mic back.
Hello, my name is Michael. I'm 22. I just graduated college, and for the longest time, growing up, I was told I wasn't Black and I was Ethiopian. And just like how you said, I internalized that and I separated myself from other Black people. And at the end of the day, that really hurt me. I feel like you can't walk around and put a crown on your head and think you're better and superior to other Black people, when at the end of the day, the white man sees you as a Black person. So why would you divide yourself from your
own community?
From your own community, correct. And so at the end of the day, you just gotta, I don't know, that's all I have to say. There's no conclusion.
So I listened to all you guys. I appreciate your feedback and your comments. I just did it for you. I'm African American. However, I've been in the Ethiopian church since I was 18 years old. And I lived in Ethiopia for 7 years. I have a perspective about this race issue that I would like to share with you. So having grown up here, lived the same way, been exposed to Ethiopian culture ever since I was young, I would say to you that you have to realize that racism is a mental construct. It is something that is constructed in order to keep you under control. Therefore, we shouldn't adhere to being called Black or white. Race is not a reality. God made human beings. God did not make certain people one race or another race. Because we have different complexions of skin, it's because of where we live geographically. This is even published in the documents of the Ethiopian Church Fathers. So we shouldn't be, adhering to this concept of racism, because this is what has brought African American people down. It was because they constructed this idea of superiority by one race or another that our society has been brought to the point where so many people don't even value education. That was a very good point. But and it doesn't make much sense. I mean, there's so many African Americans. You look at President Obama, who, lived overseas. He's half black, half white. I have white in me. I have American Indian in me. There's no such thing as a pure black African American. There's no such thing. I know very few African Americans who are completely black. They have a lot of Indian in them. So, this is a structure that has been put in place for young Ethiopian kids. I wouldn't recommend you get yourselves into the discussion of whether you're black or white, because that was put on us, and your parents didn't bring you here so that you could get caught up in the problem that was created, 400, 500 years ago. What are you? You're good human beings who are children of God, who have an ethnicity from Ethiopia. And you might have subsequent other ethnicities. You might be from Gojam, you might be from Oromo, you might be from Tigray, you might be from, if you want to say Habesha, Eritrea. But I would not even think about, my race, because that is a structure that is used to control you. And so we're not, human beings are not racist. All right? We're the children of God. We're created in God's image and likeness. That's what I came here to teach you guys. And I listened to you guys talk for a while. I taught this yesterday. I hear your statement there. I have 3 master's degrees. By the time I was 30 years old, I was in charge of a school. People used to walk into the room and ask me where the principal was. And I would be like, well, you're in his office. Where do you think? I understand the concept, but that is all about power and control. So they couldn't believe that somebody at the age of 30 of my complexion or my background was in charge of all of these administrative, responsibilities. But that's just power. That's all about power and who's in control. Once they got used to it, they would see, oh, these are the ideas. And that's what people should judge you based on. If you talk about being African American, you talk about participating in the NAACP, what Dr. King spoke about was that he had a dream that people would not judge people by the color of their skin, but by the character. This was a basic statement that he made because he understood way back then that is the problem. That we should not judge each other based on the color of our skin, but on the content of our character. And even if people do so, those people are ignorant and we cannot support their types of thinking. So I listen to that.
Thank you so much for that statement, and it's true. But at the end of the day, at least where I stand is we should also know how to protect ourselves from those kinds of situations and knowing how not to internalize it. So just because we're running out of time, thank you guys so much for the statements made. We're going to show this video that I gave 2015, so 4 years ago, about how to not internalize it and how to protect yourself in situations like this. There is an emphasis on Black women because, but it's applicable to everyone. So thank you, everyone.